Hey, 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 what's going on, Broncos country? It is Chad Jensen here to talk about the first half of Broncos versus Niners. You guys hearing me okay? I hope so. Let me know if you're having any struggles hearing me. Just give everybody a second to join the room. What up, Norman? What up? Deb PR Familia. What's good, everybody? Chad Jensen. Follow me on Twitter at Chad and Jensen. Thank you, Cole Component. Appreciate that. You guys can hear me. That's good. So I am going to go ahead and dive in. What's up, Sheldon? How you doing, buddy? So your Denver Broncos, they're scoring. They've led 3 different scoring drives on Monday Night Football against the San Francisco 49ers in their home debut this preseason, but they've been unable to hit pay dirt. 9-3, the Denver Broncos lead going into halftime, and they will get the ball to open the second half. We're going to get to Drew Lock. We're going to get to Noah Fant. But first, I want to talk about the first-team offense, okay? Just like Vic Fangio said over the weekend, the first-teamers, the starters, we're going to see a lot more time in this game than they had up until this point, and he was true to his word. We got a long, long look at Joe Flacco. We got to see Emmanuel Sanders, who just looks twitchy, looks good. My dude does not look like he's 32, does he? I mean, he is out there just running around. Had that great 45-yard pickup in which Joe Flacco connected with him deep, negated by, guess who? Shocker, stunner, Garrett Bowles. It's preseason, so I don't want to overreact too much, but I got to believe that the Broncos are just about out of patience with Bowles. These plays come at the worst moment. They negate touchdowns. They negate big plays. We've seen it happen many, many times with Garrett Bowles, and it happened yet again. And if I'm Mike Munchak and I'm Vic Fangio, I'm going to John Elway and I'm saying, John, we have got Elijah Wilkinson balling out, playing well. Why are we risking our offense? Why are we risking our quarterback to Garrett Bowles when at any given moment he can take a productive drive or get our quarterback hurt? Now, you might argue, well, Bowles had to do what he did there or else Joe Flacco was going to get crushed from the blind side. Not necessarily. I mean, he had poor technique from the snap on that. He just got beaten. And yeah, the last thing he did there, holding on, saved Joe Flacco from perhaps taking a really nasty shot on the blind side, but he should never have been in that position in the first place. So very frustrating, but let's just cover really quick statistically where your Denver Broncos are at up to this point. They've really, early on anyway, they struggled to get the ball going with the first team offense on the ground, but going into halftime, your Denver Broncos have 67 rushing yards to San Francisco's 42. I can live with that. I can live with that. The Broncos have moved the ball pretty well. As I said, they just couldn't close. But the worst thing that happened from the first team was that Noah Fant got banged up. Now, I'm a little bit unplugged from Twitter right now while I'm doing this live stream, so I don't know if there's been any new updates, but he did exit the game, Noah Fant, with a foot injury. There's an article up right now at milehighhuddle.com where we are, that has the full report and shows a link or a video clip of that shot, kind of a 3-pronged attack. Looked like a lower body. They're saying it's a foot from Kyle Fredrickson of the Denver Post. Last thing you want to see, we will update you on any further info when that comes to light in terms of his prognosis. So I think that pretty much covers it. Oh, I want to talk about one last thing. Two players on defense. 3 players. My goodness, Shelby Harris. He is playing like, granted we can't get out over our skis. It is the preseason, but he is playing like an all-pro. He's all over the place. He's creating pressure. He's stuffing the run. He's batting down balls. He's chasing down running backs on screen plays. He was all over the field. You got to love seeing that. You got to love also Isaac Yiadom, who was challenged this past week by Chris Harris Jr. that, he was complimented on one hand, and then on the other, Chris Harris Jr. said, we just got to, get him to use his hands in terms of show better hands as, ball production. Picked off Jimmy G on the Niners' opening possession on 3rd down, no less. giving the Broncos favorable field position on their first possession. Gotta love that. And then Bradley Chubb, oh my goodness, this dude is looking so twitchy. The broadcast has done a pretty good job of pointing out how he's added some tools to the toolbox in terms of his pass rushing skill set. This dude is poised to have himself a very big season. So let's get to what you guys want to talk about here. And by the way, you guys, I'm going to put the link here. You guys got to come join our game day open thread. Each and every game, we hold an open thread at milehighhuddle.com where myself, Zach will be there, Nick Kendall, Carl Dumbler, Eric Trickle, all the guys, Lance Sanderson. They are there from Mile High Huddle along with you, our great listeners, our readers, our members, talking the game. Now here's the live stream. We go through the open thread. You guys got to come log in. It's easy. Let me just quickly tell you how to log in. At the top of the website where you see the big Mile High Huddle banner, you'll see a little plus sign. Click that, create an account. You can sign in. It's free. You sign in with your Facebook, you can sign in with your Google, and you are in. You can comment, you can engage. We want to hear from you there, okay? End of sermon. I just put it in the comments. So let's get to some of what you guys have to say here. Trick Lessons Podcast, my dude, what's up? He says, Bradley Chubb with the second move instead of the bull rush. He's got the rip to the inside. And that's what I love, man. We're seeing progress from him. And playing in Vic Fangio's scheme, my goodness. If anything hit home for me tonight watching that first-team defense play, it's that they are going to smother their opponents, and they are going to create a lot of turnovers this year. Bold prediction, your Denver Broncos have a legit chance to lead the NFL in takeaways. And that translates more often than not to wins. Let's see here. J-Rod says, I'm so tired of the red zone and third down fades. I know. It's been pretty uninspired X's and O's, frankly, when the Broncos get inside the red zone. I don't know what it is from Rich Scangarello, or if it's a quarterback issue, or if they're just still ironing out the kinks, but they are not showing very good inspiration, very good design, and very good execution when they get inside the 20. These fades, I agree with you. If you're going to throw the fade, give your receiver a chance to make a play on the ball. Joe Flacco has been very unimpressive in the red zone. He's been okay between the 20s. In the red zone, though, he's been lackluster. D. Brown says, will special teams derail us again soon this year? Again, I think I've talked about this on a couple of previous pods. It's in lives. It's concerning the special teams coverage issues. However, you got to remember that the majority of the guys that are out there on those coverage units right now are not going to be on the roster 3 weeks from now. So you got to, in that sense, at least let that factor into your analysis and your opinion on the special teams. It doesn't mean it's excusable. It doesn't mean it doesn't need to be fixed. But pump the brakes on getting too out over your skis. King Kirk says, why was our special teams looking so questionable? I don't know. And this is 3 games in a row now where the coverage units have been lackluster, and I think that's something that Vic Fangio might need to, and along with the special teams coordinator, Tom McMahon, have a better emphasis. You know, maybe they need to start doing like the Seattle Seahawks do and go full contact on those practice drills. On coverage units, I don't know. We'll see. Let's see here. Jared Ortiz says, Scangarello really loves his screen passes. Yeah, we've seen a lot of those. And I think with the personnel the Broncos have at the skill position players, you know, they're going to be able to make some hay with those screens. You don't have Demaryius Thomas, but Cortland Sutton had a nice one. We've seen him try and work the ball to a few guys. Also, that end around to Sanders, which we saw several times last year. He even scored on one of them last year. He had a nice, I think it was 19, 20-yard gain. King Kirk says, how are you feeling about Drew Lock? Thanks for bringing that up. I almost forgot to talk about Lock. I've liked what I've seen from him again. And I liked that the Broncos, you know, kind of stuck to their guns and let him be the next quarterback out on the field after Flacco. I hope they give him the entire third quarter. We don't really need to see Kevin Hogan again. If anything, we need to see more Brett Rippon in the fourth quarter. At least give Rippon half of the fourth quarter. But Drew Lock, I mean, not perfect, you know, especially on that final drive when he took that deep shot into triple coverage when he had a wide open guy in the flat, not quite the flat, but on the left-hand side on the curl. So I like what I've seen. I also like from Drew Lock that, you know, he scrambled, showed that athleticism, and also the presence of mind to extend the ball and pick up that first down, move the chains that the Niners then challenged the spot. and lost. So I like what I've seen from Drew Lock, but we'll talk more about Lock on the Gut Reaction podcast immediately following the game. Let's see here from Sheldon. Here's a good question. Would you go for it on fourth down or take the points like the Broncos have? I mean, you got to get your special teams guys some situational reps too. It's good for Brandon McManus, which, as the broadcast showed there, he's missed his last 5 regular season attempts from 50 or more yards. You want to give him that rep, but at the same time, I know what you're getting at. When the stakes are non-existent in the preseason game, why not just go for it on fourth down? Part of that is it's an unwritten rule that the special teams situational football needs attention too, and so the coaches, unless it's an extenuating circumstance in the game, game's on the line, whatever it might be, they're going to kind of stick to tradition and kick the field goal or punt or whatever. Josh Williams says, I would have liked to see some more urgency from either Scangarello or Locke on that last drive. That's a fair point. But again, just keep in mind that this is a big learning process for Locke. And frankly, I think it's a learning process right now as well for Rich Scangarello. I've liked what I've seen from him mostly from a design perspective, from a blocking scheme perspective. But the only thing I don't like is so far inside the 20s. Let's see here. JS9798. My dude Jacob says Hogan will be gone after the last preseason game. And I don't have, I'm not going to refute that. I hope that's the case, and I think that will be the case. King Kirk says run blocking isn't looking great, but hopefully they start gelling soon. Agreed. It hasn't looked good. The first team offensive line still not complete. We didn't see Ronald Leary out there. I think it was Austin Schlottman's got the start at right guard as opposed to Don Barkley this time. So if you guys can remember, Schlottman was an undrafted rookie, I believe, from TCU last summer. And he didn't make the 53, but he stuck around on the practice squad, and the Broncos are giving him a look there. You know, that interior, the swing guard and swing center positions right now are very unresolved, so it's wide open for him. Is Malik Reed playing? Jesse, that's a good question. I'm not sure on that. I'll have to circle back. Part of the problem for me is I'm watching the game and I'm studying it and everything. I'm also managing our game thread. I'm taking notes on the live blog. So I'm not quite as locked in on the first broadcast and the first viewing as I prefer to be, because I got a report for you guys too. Holy Diver says, cool name by the way, Ronnie James Dio in the hizzy. The running game looks poor, and RS is worrying me with trying to pass so much. Rich Scangarello. Yeah, I mean, I don't blame him too much though. When you can't get any purchase on the ground with your first team offense, I don't blame him that he goes back to to throwing the ball. And Flacco needs those reps. Locke needs those reps as well. Aaron Falk says, is it just me or does the D seem to be hitting harder and making more solid tackles compared to last season? That's something that is absolutely true. You're seeing Vic Fangio has focused on the fundamentals with his defensive backs. We've heard him talk about the fact that tackling is non-negotiable. It's a point of emphasis for Vic Fangio to focus on tackling technique, execution, making that sound, and it comes out in the wash. We're seeing it right now. I mean, that is a smothering first-team defense. How do you think Dalton Reisner is looking from King Kirk? Good. I mean, this guy looks like a no-brain lock stud freaking slam dunk pick. Jacob says Elijah Wilkinson needs to get some first-team reps in the next game. You know what? I'm ready for that. I'm ready for that, you guys. I mean, the only concern is if you're the Broncos, and I guarantee you this is going to be part of the conversation, what does that do to Garrett Bowles' confidence? Because once, you never know how a young player is going to react to being benched, especially first-rounders. They got the draft pedigree and they're high on their horse and all that. They get benched, you never know how they're going to respond, and you might lose them forever. Now, you would hope not. They're pros. You expect them to bounce back and have mental fortitude, but there's no predicting that. And so that's the biggest concern, which is why ultimately I don't think they're going to make any change at left tackle until the regular season, if and when Bowles continues to struggle in the first season. How we doing, guys? Is the game back on? I got the door closed because I don't want noise coming in on you guys. Let me know if the game's back on, or when the game comes back on, let me know. Let's see here. Trick Lessons podcast. He says, King like a freaking Pro Bowler. Oh, the game is back on. Okay. Well, hey, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me here. got to get back to the game, obviously. Come hang out. I'm going to put the link again in the comments here. Come hang out on our Game Day Open thread. I want you guys to log in, engage, be a part of this conversation. We love hearing from you over there, and helps us out too. Being over on milehighhuddle.com, it helps us. So hope to see you guys over there. In the meantime, stay tuned. We'll have the Gut Reaction podcast with Zach and myself. Following the game, we'll get that published for you tonight, so you're not have to wait on it till tomorrow. Follow me on Twitter, @Chad and Jensen. Follow the podcast on Twitter, @HuddleUpPod. And follow Mile High Huddle on Twitter and Facebook, @Mile High Huddle. Talk to you later, guys.